Greetings, Perl citizens. It is I, Will the Chill, your fearless leader and acting mayor of Pearlville. You may know me by my legal name, Will Braswell. We are coming to you today live with another exciting and fascinating episode of the Perl Town Hall. This is episode number 8, a re-recording due to Facebook accidentally deleting half of my episode last time. So, my apologies to anybody who may have heard some of this already. Today, we will continue with our overview of the Perl Community Roadmap. And we have been talking about the marketing aspect of things for the past few episodes. Yay, marketing! Exciting! So, whether or not you believe that marketing is a necessary evil, or if it is just another part of everyday life, it is certainly a part of our Perl Community Roadmap. So, if you would like to follow along from the comfort and relative safety, hopefully, of your own home, you can point your web browser to perlcommunity.org/marketing.html. Arvon Griffiths asks, is this live or Memorex? Well, right now, as I'm talking, it's live, and in the future, it will be recorded. So thank you, Benny, for having our link to everyone to view the marketing page. And everyone that wants to follow along from home can review many of my talking points themselves. So to get us started today, we will have another quote from St. Larry Wall, the founding father of Perl and the Perl community. So we like to review some of the quotes from Larry, from St. Larry, because he has a lot of very clever things to say and a lot of pertinent things to say about Perl and about all the aspects of Perl, including marketing. One of the clever quotes that St. Larry has to say is as follows, quote, "We invented the notion of culture several million years ago. Overall, it seems to have been a useful concept," unquote. So yes, this is our culture, and the tagline or subheading for the marketing section of the Perl Community Roadmap is that our programming culture is our brand. So this is something where we have to recognize who we are, and that we're really, in many ways, selling ourselves as a community and not just a lifeless technology. Yes, the Perl compiler, like most other types of software, could be considered, not to have a life or mind of its own, but certainly the Perl community or the Perl culture, or the cultured Perl, to make a hilarious and unique analogy, that is what we're promoting in many ways. That we're not just another language. There are so many languages now that it's difficult to choose. In fact, we have people all the time asking online, why should I learn Perl? How is Perl better than other languages, and so forth. And marketing is one of the ways that we will address that issue. So let's scroll down in our roadmap. You can follow the link that Benny posted there. And we're going to start with release parties. Yes, Perl release parties. This is a type of event. So it's meant to be a real-life, in-person, physical meet space event, although, with the coronavirus and everything else that we are dealing with nowadays, I wouldn't be surprised if there are people that would want to do an online or virtual digital version of this using something like Facebook Live, which we're enjoying right now. But nevertheless, we're going to focus on the real-life version of release parties. And the reason for this is that parties are for bringing people together. And it really helps if you are with the person that you want to talk about Perl with, or that you're mixed in. Mix and mingle. You are mixing and mingling with the Perl people, and you can kind of move throughout the room. When you have a digital or online version only, you don't really have the same options. You can't sort of go from group to group like we all enjoy doing in a real party atmosphere. So that being said, if the only option you have is to have a digital release party, go for it. That's a heck of a lot better than having no party at all. However, once the quarantine is over and the coronavirus has hopefully been cured someday in the not too distant future, we will hopefully be able to get back to some semblance of normal life, and at that time we can have real parties again, and people can stand less than 6 feet away from one another and not have gloves and masks and facial coverings and everything. But until that time, we do the best we can, and we make do with what we have. So what is a release party? Well, whenever there is a new version of any Perl software that is released to the public, certainly for the more important Perl projects such as Perl itself, or the Perl compiler, or any number of other important Perl projects, it behooves us to celebrate, to kind of make a big deal, because it is a big deal whenever a new version comes out, especially major versions, which we have once a year for our Perl, the Optimizing Perl compiler. We do that on the 4th of July, so we enjoy the Perl tradition of celebrating real-life holidays and incorporating Perl into that somehow. So with our Perl, we chose the middle of the year, the 4th of July or Independence Day celebration here in the U.S., but there's any number of other holidays. We have a whole list of them in the documentation for the Perl compiler. So there's a number of holidays, public holidays, cultural holidays, religious holidays, whatever kind of holiday, that's what we do. But it doesn't have to be on a holiday. It could be on just a random weekend or some weeknight that works for your group. Heck, it could be held at your office during the lunch hour. I mean, there's no limitation on when or where you could have the party, with the exception, of course, that we assume your location is going to be, safe, secure, and appropriate. You don't want to have a party in the street unless it's a very carefully planned street party. You probably want to have it indoors, and have restroom facilities and places for people to sit and places for people to stand, depending on if they're tired, or they may have the need to sit down after some amount of time. Take into consideration people with other special needs, handicap access, and so forth. All of those things are, I'm assuming that you will have already taken care of that. I'm not gonna teach you how to choose a right place and time to have your party. That is something that I assume everyone is an adult and is capable of making those decisions. What I want to talk about is some of the other aspects that go into making a good release party. So first of all, we did talk about the beer and burgers meetings during one of our previous episodes. In fact, it was episode number 7. I want to compare and contrast real briefly because the beer and burger meetings are supposed to be informal for the most part and can be held for no real reason. They could be incorporated into part of a pro-mongers meeting, but that's not at all necessary. It's really just an excuse for your Perl friends to get together and have some beer and burgers and pizza or whatever, or some root beer or milk or orange juice, whatever your preferred beverage. With the Perl release parties, it is a bit different because we are doing this for a specific reason. It really is, it has to be for a specific reason. It needs to be to celebrate the release of some Perl software. And we can enjoy the friendship and fellowship of our Perl compatriots. We can have a fun, casual time together, and really one of the main goals is to boost morale. I would say that another primary goal is essentially to, as we say in the roadmap, to punctuate important successes in the Perl community. So you should hopefully be doing those things, boosting morale, celebrating the successes, and we're wrapping this all into an event that's called a release party. So let's talk briefly about a few of the aspects of release parties. First of all, what is the most important aspect of a release party? There's one thing that is more important than anything else. Again, we're not counting having a safe, secure, appropriate location. That's a foregone conclusion. You should already have that before you plan to do the other components of the party. So, not counting a location, what is the single most important? Arvon says free food. Very good guess. In fact, Arvon, that is the second most important thing. So we're going to get there in just a minute. But the very first most important thing is you, Arvon, or you, the other listeners and watchers, specifically one person who is going to act as the host or MC, Master of Ceremonies, or Mastress perhaps, depending on who you ask. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, say no more. But basically we're going to have one person who is responsible for guiding the event. Now, obviously before you have any well-organized event, you need to plan it. And presumably you're going to have some sort of office-style planning committee, hopefully not with so much catty back talk, but you can basically have any number of motivated individuals taking part in the planning, but really when the day of arrives, it's supposed to really be like one main host. Now, you can have co-hosts. You could have 2 or 3 co-hosts even, but that's not so common. The most obvious, simplest way to handle it is to just have one person as the host of the party. Now, hopefully you have your very own Perlmongers group in whatever city or metropolitan area you live closest by, and a natural choice for the host of the party could be the lively, charismatic, and ruggedly handsome or stunningly beautiful president or presidentress of the Perlmongers group that you are affiliated with. Presumably that person would be already well-versed in all things Perl and outgoing, outspoken, friendly, fun, maybe a little wacky or goofy. But it's a definite possibility that you could have the president of your local Perlmongers help host the party. It doesn't have to be them. If you don't have a Perlmongers group, it could be anyone. Arvon says if you have free food, you'll get me there. Well, hold on, we're going to get there in just a minute. So the party host or master of ceremonies is responsible for, first of all, as I said, being part of the party planning. You can't be the host if you're not an integral part of the party planning committee. Obviously, you don't want to be derivative, you want to be integral. That's a little bit of nerd math humor for you there. But it's not just about planning. When the day arrives, the party host is usually the first person that greets people when they arrive. And that's an important thing because you want everyone to feel welcome. You want everyone to feel like you know who they are, and if you don't know who they are, then you introduce yourself and find out who they are, and make sure they're in the right place, and get them started to talk to some other people. You don't just want to say, "Hey, I'm Will the Chill. Welcome to the party. See you later." You want to chat with them for a few minutes. If you don't know them, get to know them for at least 2 or 3 minutes. And even if there's other people coming in, you can greet multiple people at once. Just do multitasking, and you can have your own little conversation group near the front door or the entrance area. Now, you don't want to clog up the entrance area. You want to move everybody on so they can go to the free food area or go to the other sections of the party and join the other discussion groups. But that front door entrance is important because it's, as we know, the first impressions are often the most important impressions, and you as the MC or party host are probably going to be the first impression that people see when they attend your event. So make yourself happy, make yourself smiling. If you're not happy to be there, nobody will. So you should be happy that your own event is occurring, and you should be jazzed up, and you should be enthusiastic about the new software release that you're celebrating. Other responsibilities of the party host include such things as helping to announce certain components or sub-activities that are occurring during the party. Maybe somebody's giving a toast or a talk or something, and it's usually the master of ceremonies who's going to announce that and who's going to make that known to the party at large. If your party is spread around in a larger area than just one room, then you're going to have to wander around and let everyone know. Other responsibilities of the party host would be to move the party along if there's time frames when things need to happen, or when perhaps it's getting close to the end of the party and you need to let everyone know we're ending in 30 minutes or we're ending in 15 minutes. That way people can get their last bits of conversation or food or dancing or whatever. And I think in many ways the party host is responsible for setting the mood of the event. So hopefully it's a festive mood in general, but there's many subtleties there. It could be a very excited mood. It could be a more demure or calmer festive mood, just depending on your culture, I guess, or your target audience. Always know your target audience. So obviously the party host is critically important. If you're going to be the party host, please take the time to dress nicely, have a professional yet friendly demeanor, and you don't have to be the life of the party, although it doesn't hurt if there isn't already someone else that's fulfilling that role. But you do have to be the face of the party, and you are again in many ways setting the tone or the mood of the party. So don't take your responsibility too lightly, but don't take yourself too seriously either. You have to find the middle ground and find somewhere that people will be attracted and feel welcome and happy that you are the host. Okay, Arvon, here we go. Item number 2, the second most important aspect of any party is the food. Yes, that's right. As our good friend Arvon Griffiths said, free food. So usually you're going to have some sort of party food. This is going to be like hors d'oeuvres or finger food, something that's small and easy to eat. It doesn't have to be that. It could be an actual formal sit-down dinner or lunch or catered meal of some kind. However, that's somewhat less common. Usually parties are standing up and moving around most of the time. And if you do have a sit-down meal, then that's going to be one of the, that's going to be actually probably the main event of your party. Now, you may have a talk that's given during the meal, which could also be considered sort of the main event. But most parties are going to be more along the lines of hors d'oeuvres and finger food. So you have a couple options here. You could have a wait staff carrying around a tray and handing out food and drinks to people. We'll talk about drinks in just a minute. You could also just have a nice table spread laid out, sort of up against one wall, so that people can make their way over to the food table whenever they feel like it. Get their little plate and then carry the plate back out into the open area and commence with their mixing and mingling. I am a fan of hors d'oeuvres and finger foods. You have lots of options. You can have, of course, the little miniature quiches. Those are readily available at your local wholesale clubs in the frozen food section. You can have the little, crab rangoon cheese puff sort of things, a little bit fancy as well. You can have tiny finger sandwiches, just cut them in little triangles and basically make a normal sandwich and cut it into at least 4 or 8 pieces, and hey, you've got finger food. You could have, of course, little dessert items, cookies, small pastries, little cakes, all sorts of candies and so forth. All of these foods are perhaps more party-oriented because they're kind of bite-sized foods. So you can take one bite and then stop and then continue with your conversation. While someone else is talking, you get your bite in. If you have a bigger, hamburgers and pizza, which we talked about in the beer and burgers meetings, that's also cool, but it's generally going to be more messy, and it's going to be more difficult for people to feed their face with this big folded slice of jumbo New Jersey style Sicilian pizza instead of perhaps a pizza pocket or a pizza bite. So, get some pizza pockets. Get some mini pizzas or something. We have another comment here. I would go to a Visual Basic party for free pizza. Ha 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 ha. Okay, that's a good one, Arvon. We're making the joke that out of all of the myriad languages in the world, Visual Basic is often considered one of the worst possible languages to use for any reason at all, even learning or simple projects. But hey, I've gone to meetings and parties for less. Now, I will say, and Arvon and Drew and a number of other Austin computer people, Elrod and all of y'all, you may remember that we used to have the Linux parties. I don't mean Linux night, but there was one particular Linux party. It was about 10 years ago, and it was in a building downtown, and we had food and snacks, and people were mixing and mingling, and Drew and I went out on the roof and did our juggling performance out there. So it was a good example of a time when I got to mix and mingle and hang out with Arvon and others, and having having some sort of free food was definitely an attraction to that event. So obviously, geeks love pizza. This is a valid point, and I will concede to Arvon on that one. My only comeback again would be pizza pockets, or pizza bites, or pizza rolls, or miniature pizzas, or heck, just, get a big pizza and cut it into smaller pizzas. I don't know. But you can go for full-size slices as long as they're not the gigantic ones that are going to just make a big mess everywhere. You don't want people having pizza sauce all over themselves while they're trying to talk to their cool new Perl friends. So, yes, food for many people is going to be considered the reason why they are feeling compelled to attend. I will also say that they're probably not attending because of the host. They're probably attending because of the food and their friends or the actual release celebration. So yes, food is perhaps the main attractant to party-going Perl people and geeks in general. Very good point. Now, would I go to a Visual Basic party for free pizza? Good question. I would say yes if it was very close by, convenient, and I knew some of my friends that were going, and I would probably go there wearing one of my our Perl compiler shirts, or one of my Perlmonger shirts, or a Perl hat, or something, just to stick it to those Visual Basic, nerdy, goony, wacky, zany programmers. So you can go to all sorts of parties and act as a Perl ambassador. Why not? Okay, moving on briefly to beverages. Yes, you can serve adult beverages, again, only where legal and appropriate, and you have some protections to make sure that underage people don't get a hold of the drinks, and you also make sure that people don't have access to too much alcohol, or that people don't get drunk and cause a problem. You are responsible whenever you have a party and there's alcohol. In fact, you may be legally liable if someone gets wasted and goes and drives and causes an accident or kills somebody. So, I'm not saying that you withhold people's social lubricant. I'm just saying that it must be, as with all things, in moderation. Just, don't serve a bunch of open bottles of hard liquor. That's a surefire way to have one or two guys or gals who doesn't know their limit to take a couple of shots too many, and really it only takes one shot too many for them to be a drunken, stumbling, dangerous, annoying fool. Been there, done that. Don't drink anymore. So if you want to drink, please go ahead. Us Mormons, we enjoy milk and orange juice and decaffeinated root beer. So make sure you have some other drinks, not just alcohol. I would also recommend, as mentioned, that you have some beverages that do not contain caffeine. I have been to numerous parties where there was only caffeinated or alcoholic beverages. And there are those of us that for medical or other reasons don't drink those drinks. Like I said, anybody that's a member of a religion that doesn't have them, you're automatically going to alienate them, even if indirectly. So have some decaffeinated sodas. Make sure you have some water if you don't already have a water fountain, so that people can get hydrated, especially those that are having alcoholic beverages. And I recommend, again, something like a lemon lime decaffeinated soda drink, or orange drink, or root beer. All of those are very popular choices, in addition to the caffeinated colas and alcoholic beverages. Now, I'm going to move on to another aspect of the parties that are perhaps very close to being as important as food. Now, they're not equal to food, but very close. And to some people who maybe are on a diet and not hungry, they're either on a diet or not hungry. Those are probably usually not at the same time. But there are some people, some of your party going attendees will be more interested in live music or pre-recorded music or a DJ or just any music, okay? Something that gives the party atmosphere. Something even perhaps danceable, okay? Certainly after having a beer or two, people are more prone to dance because they've dropped some of their inhibitions, and everybody loves to dance, whether they will admit it or not. Everybody does the Tom Cruise risky business, dancing in their underwear in the house when their favorite song comes on the radio. So it's a common theme pretty much throughout all world cultures that music is fun. So I put this very near the top of the list. Now, you have a few options. You could have live music with a band. If you have a wife or brother who's a musician, got both. Pro musicians are great. You can pay them or not, depending on how you work things out with them. Please be sure to support them in some way, at least by giving them free food and whatever. But having a live band is really engaging. In fact, if you have a live music performance, that is probably going to be the main attraction or main event, the main event of your party, because you've gone to all the trouble to get that band there, get them set up, do the sound check, have the PA system, or all of that stuff that goes into having a live performance. If you don't have access to a band for whatever reason, you could have a DJ, just one guy with his computer or turntables or whatever. Usually they'll bring their own speaker system, and have that person set up and play a number of popular tunes. They could be, again, dance music or pop music or even sort of ambient background music during the parts of the party where you don't need to have people dancing. If you do have live music or a DJ, you probably should have a dance floor, because at some point they will play a song that people will want to dance to. It also helps if you yourself take the initiative to start dancing, because we've probably all seen the solo dancing guy on a hill movie online over the past few decades, and it starts out with one guy dancing and everyone else is sitting down just like, what is this guy doing? And he's the leader, right? He's the early adopter. This has been used in many talks. And then before too long, one other person rushes over and starts grooving with that first guy. Well, that is the catalyst. As soon as they see that there's more than one person who's enjoying this activity, then you have a sort of snowball effect, and that will eventually lead to a large group of people dancing and enjoying themselves, and that's what you really want, especially, again, if you have gone to all the trouble of actually having a live music or having dancing in the first place. So have some room. It doesn't have to be a formal dance floor, but have some place for those people to be. If you don't have access to live music or a DJ, then guess who is going to be responsible for the music? That's right, you, the party host. You could just bring your smartphone or your MP3 player or your laptop, and just, even with your own little desktop speakers, usually it's loud enough if you turn it all the way up to blast out a whole room. If you have a really large party, you're expecting over 50 or 100 people, you probably need to have bigger speakers. But either way, it's going to fall onto your shoulders. Now, you can delegate this, of course, to someone else, but just make sure that whoever is in charge of the music has it set up so that you don't have a whole bunch of dead time with music cutting on and off, or you really don't want commercials playing in between the songs. Don't put on YouTube because it's going to intersperse these loud, super annoying, inappropriate commercials. Have your own playlist ready, okay? And if you set it for an hour and walk away, that's fine. Just put an alarm on your watch to come back when the hour is done and start the next playlist. Or segue into whatever the next activity may be. Now, I will run through a few other minor items. Well, perhaps not minor, but not the major items for party concepts and components and considerations. So one popular idea is to have a guest of honor. This is somebody who perhaps is the person who released the software, or perhaps a local celebrity, or a Perl, a very important person in Perl VIP, a Perl VIP. Or you may have, a local politician, or a local educator, or someone else that essentially is sort of a known entity, so the people will be drawn in because of your guest of honor. Now, usually you have something that is either an award or a gift or something that you're doing to thank the guest of honor. Also, you usually want them to address the audience. They could give a whole long talk during dinner. They could give a 2-minute thank you speech. It could be, anywhere up to 30 minutes long. If people are sitting down eating, they'll usually pay attention to a speaker. Whatever it is that you're going to do, make sure there is something special about the guest of honor. You don't just want to have, our guest of honor is St. Larry, and that's it. You need to have, something that clearly demonstrates to the members attending the party that this person is truly worthy of honor and praise and significant recognition for whatever reason. Make sure that you give a heartfelt and an accurate introduction for your guest of honor whenever everyone is assembled and the time is right. And do your homework. I mean, if you need to write down a few things on a little cheat sheet, that's fine. That's common among MCs, especially when they're introducing multiple people. But even if you just have one guest of honor, you want to have a good, 5 or 6 line items on your introduction cheat sheet so that you're really showcasing who this person is and why they truly are a guest of honor. Again, you can put together your own awards. They can be sort of tongue-in-cheek Dundee-style awards, or they could be a serious official community awards, the White Camel or something like that. So there's a lot of flexibility on how to approach the guest of honor aspect, and you don't have to have a guest of honor. That's fine if you don't, but it is an idea. Other things to consider: decorations and or costume themes. If you're going to do either of those two things, you probably need to coordinate them together so that your decorations match your costume theme. If you're going to do decorations only, that's fine. People are more than happy to show up in their street clothes. Believe me, it's less effort for them. But if it's on a holiday, or if it's a special season, or heck, just if you want to have a costume theme, okay, why not? As long as it fits your target audience. Again, you have to know your target audience. What do they like? What are they entertained by? What are they annoyed by? What What's going to draw them in to attend your event instead of staying at home or going to some other activities? So you can have, there's so many different decoration and costume themes. You could do Hawaiian, you could do, like Valentine's Day or Christmas if it falls on a holiday. You could do, of course, Halloween costumes where everyone can just pick random costumes to dress up. You could have the sort of masked ball where people are encouraged or even required to hide their identity to some degree until perhaps a certain point in the party where people unmask themselves and it's a surprise. There's all sorts of themes that you could have for your decorations and for your costumes. If you're going to have costumes, please have decorations. If you're not going to have either of them, okay. It's probably not a bad idea to at least have some minor decorations, but I'll leave that up to you. Other ideas include icebreaker games, things that you do at the beginning to loosen people up and get them to know one another. There's lots of, you can look them up online, the hula hoop game, the orange under the net game, the old telephone game where you whisper something to the next person and it goes around and you see how wacky it is at the end. I always like to insert Purple Monkey Elevator just into whatever I hear, just for fun. But you can make up your own icebreaker games. There's Rat Tails. There's there's so many different games you can choose from. They should be brief. They should be fun. They should be engaging, and they should be welcoming because you're trying to kind of get everybody to participate. Now, some people just will refuse and they're not going to play that game, but you should have a game that most of the people are at least willing to go along with it if you, the party host, kind of politely insist. You can have other really fun things like door prizes and cakewalks. I love doing these things. Just have everybody who comes in, they get one of those little tear-off tickets that has a number on it. You have the other ticket with the matching number. You mix them all into a cup, and you have a volunteer come and pick it out of the hat each time. And you could have gender-specific gifts. In other words, gifts for males and gifts for females. You could have generic gifts that are good for anybody. You could have gifts that are for kids versus adults. Whatever. You could have gag gifts. You could have serious gifts. You can find plenty of nice gifts online without spending too much money. I mean, you can get people nice little clocks or watches and so forth. It doesn't have to be, a Wittenauer brand or a Swiss Army watch or something. It could be, just a fun little Mickey Mouse watch for $5 or something silly like that. If you're rich, you can buy everybody a bunch of gold Rolexes, but we're assuming that's not the case. So pick out some fun gifts and make them door prizes. You can also have those something stuck underneath everyone's chair if you're having a sit-down meeting, and then you say check under your seat, and those who have it on their seat they win one of the door prizes. Also, cakewalks are surprisingly engaging. Okay, you set up a circle with chairs or spots to stand, and you have a certain number of generally whole cakes, and the music is played, right? And when the music stops, it's kind of like musical chairs, but instead of just having a winner of the game, the person who's landing in front of the cake gets to keep that entire cake. And oh my gosh, people go gaga. Free food, Arvon, free food. People go bananas when they get an entire free cake. I mean, I've seen people get real competitive over winning those cakes. And you can, again, go to your local grocery or bakery or wholesale. I like going to the wholesale clubs because if you're going to buy a whole bunch of cakes, you're going to save several dollars by going to a wholesale club. And I usually try and buy at least like one cake for every 10 people that attends. That way there's, a fighting chance that you might win a cake. You don't want to have one cake with 50 people there because it's far too low of a probability and people will not be engaged. You don't want to have one cake for every other person, because then it's kind of like, yeah, everyone's going to win or whatever, and it's not exciting, right? There has to be some risk or challenge. The risk of losing, not getting your cake. Other ideas are having surprises or big announcements. Hey, it's a surprise special guest that you didn't advertise. This is different than a guest of honor usually. You could have a big announcement. Hey, guess what? We just got a new partnership or a new sponsor, or we're going to have a whole new software that we're spinning off from this one, whatever it may be. Here's a new Perl device that we're just showing you for the very first time. These are all sort of big announcements and surprises that you can work in, and people love to have pleasant surprises. They don't like unpleasant surprises usually, but pleasant surprises are just plain fun. And who doesn't like to have fun? I mean, everybody knows that fun rules, right? Other sort of more serious ideas are like formal toasts and speeches, award presentations if they're serious awards. You do want to give people the chance to give a toast if it's a sit-down meal especially. If it's a standing up mix and mingle, you could have that opportunity by just sort of dinging on your glass, ding, 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 get everyone's attention, or just like someone with a very loud voice, such as myself, can just say, attention, attention, please. We're going to give a toast. Please give us your attention. You can have speeches. It's good to have some small speech at least. If it's a sit-down dinner, again, it could be up to 30 minutes long. If it's people just standing, mixing, and mingling, maybe 5 or 8 minutes long, so that you don't lose their attention. But somebody should say something sort of, officially during the party. You don't want it to be totally casual and informal. There's got to be at least one anchoring, event, and if the very least that you can do is to just give a little talk for 5 minutes, welcoming everyone, thanking them, saying why we're here. This is the thing we've released. This is why we released it. Here's the new features, and we're very excited. Thank you for coming. That's fine. That at least will count as your one speech, and you're good. You can also have one of my favorite things I mentioned before is additional entertainment. Now, this is perhaps going above and beyond the call of duty. If you have music, that's enough. That is your bare minimum entertainment. Food counts as entertaining, but food itself generally is not entertainment, okay? What you need to do is at least have music, but also there's a myriad of in-person, live performers available in virtually every corner of the globe. Even in the most remote village, there's probably somebody there who can do some cool tricks, whether they be acrobatic or juggling or clowning or comedians or even just singing, like a singer in a live band. That counts as an entertainer. Heck, someone to read poetry. I mean, there's so many different things. I happen to be a semi-professional juggler, so I'm somewhat partial to circus skills and circus performance, but it could be anything. And again, you probably don't want this to last more than 5 or 10 minutes unless it's a sit-down meal, and it can be part of your main event, or that's called a stage show usually, where you're the main event and people have to look at you and you're the focus and everyone's quiet. Or you could have what we call a wandering performance, and this is where you had the performer that's just randomly meandering throughout the crowd, mixing and mingling with the attendees, and just stand in one spot and juggle for 3 or 4 minutes and then move on. And you can work your way through a large crowd, or you could go through the same crowd a few times and doing different tricks each time, hopefully. But either way, you are essentially bringing this extra extra razzle dazzle or perhaps brazzle dazzle to your event. And I guarantee that if you have a juggler or another special performance, people will not soon forget your Perl release party. If it's just another time to go hang out and eat pizza, that's kind of, a dime a dozen as far as parties. But you need to have, again, a main event, something that's special to your release party, and that makes people say, wow, I've never seen that before, or I didn't expect that, or that's really cool. You need to engender this because people will usually not remember what you said. People will remember how you made them feel. So remember their name, talk to them, talk about them, give them attention, give them a show that they will remember. It made them feel excited. It made them feel entertained. It made them feel like a kid again. These are the visceral, subconscious reactions that will be burned into people's long-term memory that this was a nice Perl event. So again, the goal here is to boost morale and to punctuate and celebrate the important successes in Perl. Okay, moving on. That was quite a bit about the release parties, but it's an important thing. Our next item is computer conferences, also a type of event, also usually a type of in-person event. Now, there's many computer conferences, international conferences, national conferences, local conferences. There's even online conferences now that we have this whole coronavirus pandemic quarantine situation on our hands. In fact, the Perl conference this year will be completely online. The physical conference has been canceled. I've seen the announcements now of at least half a dozen business and computer conferences canceled in my own little world, my own little circle of activities. We've had just cancellation after cancellation because of the virus. But there is still hope. Of course, in the future, we hope to be back to normal life. And even if there are issues with your favorite conference, be the change that you want to see in the world. So we have a couple conferences that I'm very sad to remind you or to announce to you that have been essentially canceled permanently. We recently lost the PHP conference. Now, I'm not a PHP programmer. I'm a Perl programmer, and PHP is one of the many bastard stepchildren of Perl, along with Python and Ruby and all the others. However, anybody that's organizing a computer software programming or computer language conference, they are our comrades in conferences, by which I mean anything that could happen to the PHP conference could happen to the Perl conference or the Ruby conference or whatever. And so I will warn you against those things which, if left unchecked or unabated, may cause your favorite conference to go the way of the dodo. And in the case of the PHP conference, it was because they had too few papers submitted by minorities. Yes, that's right. They had plenty of presentations lined up. But because of the political activists who want to make their political agenda override the technical agenda of a technical conference, we had, essentially activism at work, and it ended up destroying the conference completely. Oh my gosh, that's not good. I mean, there's political rallies and political conferences for that sort of thing. And I'm not against political activity in any way. I'm a politically active person, and I have been for most of my life. But holy cow, I mean, a PHP computer conference is not the place to push your political agenda. And for that matter, I must say that a Perl conference is not the place to push your political agenda. Whatever that may be, whichever part of the political spectrum you may be on. So we have seen, unfortunately, we have seen some real problems arising with the Perl conferences because of that very reason. And those of you who know more about it likely know the details and my own position and opinions on those things. I won't get into that now. It's a gigantic, terrible, ongoing car crash, train wreck, plane crash can of worms that is in no way resolved at this time. However, fortunately, the Perl conference is not completely canceled yet, and we can see that there is still hope, perhaps, that things could be better in the future. So I forgot I have to keep my screensaver from turning on. Okay. So we have another comment here that says, if they are going to act like that, good riddance. Well, again, it was essentially a tiny group of what I call activists that are negatively affecting everyone. So I would say good riddance to the troublemaking, agenda-oriented activist people, but I would not say good riddance to the PHP conference. Even though I'm not a PHP programmer and I'm not promoting PHP as a language, I am promoting people to have technical conferences. And if this can happen to one, it can happen to any. We also saw, unfortunately, the permanent cancellation of one of the world's largest and oldest computer conferences, OSCON, the Open Source Convention by O'Reilly and Associates. And unfortunately, this seems to have been due to the coronavirus, although presumably they were already experiencing some troubles and struggles and financial issues. So thank you, Arvon. Talk to you soon. So basically, what we're experiencing is some sort of global change is happening with technical conferences, and OSCON was actually in some ways a spin-off or related to the very early Perl conferences. You may recognize that Perl was one of the first languages that helped O'Reilly become a powerhouse of computer technology, printing and publication, as it is now. And I was honored to man the Perl booth at 2 OSCONs that both happen to be here in the Perl headquarters and capital of the world, Austin, Texas. Where's Austin? There it is, Austin, Texas. We had two OSCONs here. They were tremendous. They were gigantic. They were fabulous. They were exciting. I got to meet so many people. I even got to personally provide the live introduction for St. Larry himself on the big stage. That was exciting. That was a high point of my Perl career. And now that's canceled. That's dead. There's no more OSCON. It's crazy. I mean, let's hope and pray that somehow OSCON can be revived. I don't know. Other gigantic conferences, of course, FOSDEM, one of my favorites in Brussels. I've flown out twice to give presentations at FOSDEM, and there's many others. So what we're looking at is essentially thousands or tens of thousands of developers every year that want some kind of conference as an outlet to get to know their other fellow developers to get to know what's the latest stuff that's happening in their software field or their niche of the industry, and of course to go around and collect a whole bunch of swag, stuff that is given away for free, stuff we all get, SWAG, also known as tchotchkes or freebies or swag or whatever. There was a whole other talk about that in one of our previous episodes. However, I did not really demonstrate much of this, which I will do very briefly now. So you probably recall that we have a number of brochures. You've got to have brochures on your table. Okay, woo, very cool. Look at that. We have, this is a trifold brochure, so you can actually look at the back. Hey, there's a picture of the Austin Pearlmongers, and you can open it up, read some more, and then open it up and have a really cool thing inside. So make sure you have full color brochures. You're going to be giving a lot of brochures away. This is one of your most important things. Of course, again, the first most important thing is friendly Perl people. You've got to have friendly, smiling, well-groomed faces behind the booth, and perhaps even in front of the booth to mix and mingle. But you need to have a lot of stuff to give away. So you're going to have to also have a full-color banner, okay, to draw people to your booth. You're going to also want to have technical documentation, perhaps, to give away. And we have quite a number of other items. For example, a Perl coffee mug. Hey, there's some Perl code on the mug, right? And there's some cool Perl logos, our Perl. So, everybody loves to drink out of their cool Perl mugs, whether they're drinking coffee or orange juice or milk or just water. Other cool ideas include you can sell T-shirts. Okay, here's a neat Perl T-shirt. You can have these sort of flyers. Right, here's a Perl flyer. This is a small one. You can have full page flyers. You can have partial page flyers. Have your mascots there. We have a number of Perl mascots. We have this lovable, adorable plush stuffed camel. This is one of our Perl mascots. We also have our Perl mascots, which, if you're not familiar, you have, of course, Skinny the Scallion, also available in cute anthropomorphized form. You have Swingy the Sword, who cuts through magic. Of course, the Scallion is the Skinny Onion. And most importantly, our Perl mascot, Rhodey the Roadrunner. Yes, that's right. You can see Rhodey here. There's the graphical version of Rhodey and the real-life plushed stuffed animal version of Rhodey. So have your mascots available. People may want to purchase them. If they're not for sale, make sure you let people know. And also make sure people don't just grab them and go for free. We have a number of smaller items. We've got the cute keychains here, available in normal and pink for your daughter at home. Pink. We have all sorts of other cool stuff. You need to have some sort of signage, okay? Here's our sign from OSCON. Rest in peace. We also have a number of other cool things. Well, here's an example from last year's Perl Conference. A nice little bit of stationery with some Perl logo on it there. We could have something like exciting Perl postcards. Hey, there's St. Larry. You might even be able to get him to sign his own face. We have, let's see. Ah, yes, okay. Now, we have things like stickers and buttons. You can give away the stickers and buttons for free. Here's the old Perl 6, now known as Raku. Not actually Perl, but here's a Perl button. This one is a rare one. It's the Programming Republic of Perl. It's the Perl cow. Yes, very few people remember the Perl cow, and it's got the little windmill in the background. Very cool, very collectible. We also have the Perl Swiss Army chainsaw. I believe that was MST that came up with that one. Okay, these are all buttons. And of course, you've got to have the Perl Velociraptor, one of our Perl mascots. So there's all kinds of other buttons. Of course, you have just the basic Perl onion there as well. Okay, these are all buttons that people will wear around, and they're becoming free advertising for you. Try to give away as many stickers as you can. We have stickers that match all of these buttons. And what happens when you don't have enough time to get your programming done? Well, you eventually need to get around to it. Yes, you need to get around to it. Ha ha ha, rim shot, to do. Yes, this is a wooden nickel. It's actually a Perl themed wooden nickel. Okay, you see it has Perl on there. We also have a number of them that were collectible items, also from OSCON. So here's the OSCON ones, and this one happens to have like the Apache Foundation feather on it. So we've got tons of Tuits. We've got hundreds of them. Thanks to Wendy and Liz for most of this awesome swag. And people may groan when you give them the round to it joke, but you do exactly what I said. You make a little joke and you hand them the round to it, and you can say, now you can get a round to it, okay? And it's got the the Perl logos on the back there, and now they have a little collectible keepsake about Perl. Now, it may not provide as much ongoing marketing for you as if you give them a sticker to put on their laptop, which mine is virtually covered in stickers. In fact, I'll give you just look at this. Look at how many stickers I've got on there. Most of them are Perl stickers. Okay? But stickers and buttons are going to essentially give you free advertising. Also, the coffee mugs, because people are going to be drinking coffee and their coworkers will see them drinking out of a Perl mug. So those are all good ideas. Other ideas, just going down the list: brochures, white papers, business cards. I always carry in my pocket here. I've got my little moleskin notebook, and I've got my my little metal business card case with Perl business cards. Okay, so I carry that around with me everywhere I go. But wherever you have a table or a booth at a conference, you need to have like stacks and stacks of business cards so that everyone can grab them as part of their freebies. I also recommend that you put all the free stuff at the front of the table, which is closest to the attendees, so they can just grab them and go if they're not interested in talking. And you're going to put all of the more expensive items, okay, more towards the back of the table. If they are for sale, clearly label them with a price. If they are freebies, you're going to want people to essentially earn the freebie, either by just chatting up with you enough and then having the gall to ask you for one, or you may have a little quiz or something like that. I showed in one of the previous episodes my favorite MySQL baseball cap that I got at the Texas Linux Fest a few years ago when I was manning the Perl booth there, opposite Arvon, and he was manning the Linux booth. And the guy that had the MySQL booth had an actual like trivia game that you had to play in order to win the hat. And I wanted the hat, so I played the game and I won. I won the hat, and I love that hat. I wear it all the time. I wear it every day. So I could go through all of my other stuff that I have, but buttons, stickers, t-shirts, hats, coffee mugs, books for sale. It's very good to have Perl books available right there for sale. People want to walk away with some tangible educational component, and a book provides that. Stuffed animals for your mascots, Live software demos. You could set up, I love doing this, setting up Perl demos, showing the compiler in action. And it's much more interesting for people and much more engaging for people if there's a live demo happening and they can ask you about it and look at the source code and see how it's running so much faster than Python and so forth. If you just have only the giveaways, that's enough. But having swag to give away and a live demo, now your booth is going to be one of the best booths out there. Any other promotional merchandise is good. Really, what we're trying to do here is to have a Perl presence at every major computer conference. And in order to achieve that, we're going to have some greater amount of coordination among the Perl community to achieve that. We need to have teams assigned to each major computer conference. We used to have a pretty solid team for OSCON and FOSDEM, but I mean that may no longer be the case because Wendy has retired from Perl. Liz is transitioning to Raku only, I believe, at this time. Jeff passed away in a tragic accident. So there's a number of issues with our conference coordination at this time. Now, I will, of course, take it upon myself to lead as many of these efforts as your fearless leader of the Perl community, but I can't be at every single conference all the time. That would be simply impractical or even impossible, especially if there's multiple conferences in different parts of the world happening at the same time. So we really need the Perlmonger groups to step up. Whatever local Perlmonger groups are closest to the conferences that are happening, those are the obvious choice to get in there to put together a nice booth or table set up, to get your banners, to get your promotional merchandise, and really make it happen. Make a good Perl presence happen at your conference. So that's about all I wanted to say right now about the conferences, and we have just one more item to go over briefly because we've gone over our 1 hour. But the last item at the bottom, currently at the bottom of the marketing page on the Perl Community Roadmap, is none other than the Perl Town Hall. That's right, the web-based TV show that you are watching right now. This is somewhat of a meta discussion, and we did talk a little bit about the Perl Town Hall during the podcast and webisode section of our roadmap. But I just wanted to retouch back on it again because if you didn't already know, Perl Town Hall, this show, is the official Perl talk show of the Community Roadmap. And obviously the Community Roadmap is the only plan we have for the future of Perl. So this is the closest thing we have to an official Perl show. It's a web-based TV show. It's a talk show. It's what we have to present you with every week in the world of Perl. Now, this is essentially a Facebook Live event that we do every week. It's right now it's been focused on covering the Perl Community Roadmap, but that's just because these are the first few episodes. Once we're done in the next week or so covering the roadmap, then we're going to go on to a whole bunch of other stuff, which we'll talk about in a second. But what we're trying to do with the roadmap is to, what we're doing with the town hall is to encourage people to participate. There's a real-time participation. You can write your comments. We can talk to you as you are watching the show. We can interact live with the audience. It's a live audience. It's a real-time participation. Also, this is kind of your weekly opportunity to get together with your Perl friends and let your voice be heard. I mean, in most cases, I'm sorry to report that your opinions about Perl probably won't matter to anyone because there's no one out there to listen and care. Well, we care. We care so much that we have put together the roadmap, the compiler, the town hall, and numerous other aspects of what we have now as our global Perl community. So there are several different possible future components of the Perl Town Hall. Obviously, Perl News, I try and give sort of updates on the major Perl news items, like, for example, the schedule for the Perl Conference has been released. Whoop-de-doo, it may not be what you hoped it will be, but it is released now. Again, major ongoing issues there, but we'll leave that for another place and time. We also, of course, talk about the roadmap. We talk about, we've had a few job offers or people that were looking for jobs. Speaking of which, there is a job opportunity in California, and we do have a person looking for a Perl job in the Seattle area. So those are just things that are happening right now. Maybe you know something. Maybe you can tell us about it. We have other ideas that we'll be rolling out over the coming weeks and months, having special guests, having surprises, special announcements, having talking about new Perl products. Hey, look, here's the new Perl phone. This is not actually it, but we are working on the Perl phone. If you didn't hear that episode, you need to go back and check that one. Giving free giveaways. Hey, whoever watches this show is going to win some free Perl thing. Or you know, play a game and win a Perl prize. We're going to have the possibility of having cooperative brainstorming occurring if we end up doing a multi-person video chat, for example. That's one opportunity that we may have opening up in the coming weeks and months. Other ideas discussing Perl business development. What are the new Perl companies out there? How can you help to start or grow your own Perl business? Source code reviews. Hey, let's take a look at some actual source code and discuss how it's good or how it's bad or how it works and why we like it or don't like it. Highlighting on interesting projects. So let's talk about the Rapid app, or let's talk about cPanel, or let's talk about the machine learning Perl. There's all kinds of interesting Perl projects that we could spend an entire episode viewing the highlights and discussing that. We could have a featured developer or a spotlight on some specific Perl developer. Let's get that person on our show with us and find out about their history, their programming background, their education, what are the projects they're working on right now. We could have question and answer sessions, more interactive audience participation. We could have live coding sessions where we just have people online doing actual hackathon programming online right then. Now, that's not computer cracking. We're not talking about bypassing some security protocols. We're talking about writing code, which is in many ways the original meaning, the true meaning of what is a hacker or a hackathon, as we've discussed in our previous episodes. So there's a lot of possible ideas of what we may come up with in the future as far as what do we want to have in the Perl Town Hall. We are very interested in your opinions. What do you want to see in the Perl Town Hall? Let us know. Comment in the comments of this video, or send me a private message on Facebook, or write something in the Perl Programmers group on Facebook. All of these are valuable methods of giving us your feedback. Heck, call me up on the phone. I'm always interested in talking to Perl people and finding out what y'all are actively interested in. What do you want to hear about in the future episodes of Perl Town Hall? So I will finish with this segment about the Perl Town Hall by simply saying that our goal Our goal of the Perl Town Hall is to provide, simply put, the best Perl content available. That's it. The best Perl content available. So I hope that you enjoy these Perl Town Hall meetings. I hope that you continue to participate and give us your ideas and feedback. And in the future, we will have even greater levels of audience participation. So with that, this brings us to the end of episode number 8. Episode number 8 of the Perl Town Hall. And I would like to thank each and every one of you for sticking with us, for giving us your feedback and your contributions to Perl, and perhaps most importantly, being a member of the Perl community. Without you, the members of the Perl community, we would not have Perl as it stands today. So remember that when I say most importantly, that's true. You are the most important part of the Perl community. Not just the software, not just me here talking to the computer online. It's about you. It's all about you being an active member, being a real part, being a part and parcel of what we're doing here, because you are the target audience. We need to have more people coming into the Perl community. We need to have retention. It's just like any organization. You have the 3 R's: recruiting, reactivating, and retaining. So we got to recruit new people into the Perl community. We've got to reactivate those who used to be active in the Perl community, and we have to retain those, retention of those who are currently active in the Perl community. And that's what this is all about. That's why we're making shows. That's why we're posting articles. That's why we're creating code and compilers and all of these things. It's not just for the heck of it or for fun, although it can be enjoyable at times, but it is to bring you value in your Perl career. So with that, I will thank you all again for joining us. And this is Will the Chill reporting live from the Perl capital, Austin, Texas. Thank you all for joining us, and good night. And cut.